Folks, this is Retro Reload, episode 13. I'm Dash V.
I'm Mike.
I'm Aaron.
I'm the Red
I'm
Beard.
Mr. Nikon.
James again.
That worked about as well as I thought it would.
Worth it.
So.
Anyone?
And now nobody said. Now we have the awkward. Perfect.
Ooh, awkward silence. I guess I'll go. I'm Cash Shell. Usually I'm on the East Coast episodes, but I'm staying up past my bedtime for an extra special group of fun topics and extra special group of fun people. Hi, everyone. Super excited.
Apparently my block filter didn't work, but welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tyler.
I'm T. Pugmire. I'm VG Collect admin, and here I am.
Go ahead, Nikon.
Mr. Nikon, also known as Charles. Or Charles, also known as Mr. Nikon. Anyway, you want to go?
Adam Jeremy.
All right. Did you introduce yourself, Mr. Nikon?
You did.
What's up?
Yes, he did.
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. So, folks, you might not have realized it because you kind of went through the intros pretty fast, but this isn't just any random Mike or Aaron. This is Aaron of Curious Quail. And if you don't know who they are, you can check out the links below this video right after we're live, and you'll be able to check out. They've got a really excellent website. They've got music on YouTube and Bandcamp. If you have not heard their music, it's your own fault. You got no excuse. It's out there, and it is awesome. So, folks, we got two really excellent topics for you in addition to our special guests today. You want to tell us what our topics are? Red?
Yes. Today's topics are best video game soundtracks and favorite RPGs.
All right. I really like this topic that we have today, and it's actually a deliberate choice because we have musicians on the show. So I want to kind of start out by, asking, both of you, what are your favorite game soundtracks? And have any of them inspired the music that you guys?
Should I go first?
I think you should go.
Ladies first, please.
Mine's much shorter. Mine mostly the Zelda games. Overall, I think the music is just all over the place.
Zelda games? Favorite Zelda games?
That's hard to say because I've never actually finished any of them, which is very sad. But there is this. But yeah, basically, I didn't get any game systems after the Atari 400 as a kid. It was Atari, which was maybe before I was born, and computers. So Zelda games were basically go over to my friend's house and play.
Gotcha. That's a legitimate reason to have not finished.
Yeah.
Did you say you had an Atari 400?
Yep.
Oh, cool. I have 800 and 1200 myself. So.
Nice.
I was 7800.
I love the 400. The theme songs not so much at that point though. They didn't really fully get into it. Pac-Man wasn't too bad, but a lot of.
I also have Pac-Man. But for the 2600, I had the system, I guess everybody and their brother had. I'm not
Your brother had that, right?
Well, there's something wrong with the 800, but I grew up with the 800.
Oh, okay.
It was a very, it was sort of a point of like nerd pride, I guess. People that had the 2600s were, it was you could have the same games, but mine were like on floppy disks, so therefore it was somehow cool. It was hipster nonsense, but I'd say so. We're doing favorite soundtrack first. I'm probably this almost sounds like a cop out, but I have to go with Chrono Trigger. Because, first of all, Mitsuda is just a genius, and him and Uematsu working together is,
Oh, good.
And
very good ones.
man, it's very, very, very iconic. Very iconic.
What's your favorite tune from Chrono Trigger? Do you not know the name?
Well, Frog's theme is so triumphant that you can't not feel good when you listen to that. I love the fact that Bravo's theme is essentially Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley.
It is, yes.
Basically, developed. Faraway Times, the song at the end is, it wraps everything together very nicely, kind of almost like a musical, sort of feel.
Are there any nods to Chrono Trigger in any tunes?
Oh, yeah.
How they've received?
Yeah, actually, And our first EP that we ever put out, Making Circles Square, is the final track on this record called The Glow. And it's totally like if you listen to the chorus, they're very you can feel Too Far Away times in it. Like it's very reminiscent of that.
And then we have a YouTube cover of Burn Sugar.
Yeah, we have the theme song on our YouTube right now.
We'll put a link to that below after the show. So, Mr. Nikon, what about you? What was your favorite game soundtrack?
I like Zelda, and Tetris. It's like,
I'll give you that one. Tetris had a slamming soundtrack for Game Boy.
Whenever I'm putting stuff together, I get the Tetris soundtrack going through my head, or I get any of those songs,
Who has ever moved and packed a U-Haul or a pod or whatever, and while they were trying to orient, it was going.
No, you
I do that every day at work. No, it's fine.
It's actually, I could actually link to this one too. A while back, I actually made there's an open source version of Tetris called SNIP, and enjoyed the game, but it didn't have the original music, and the graphics were a little different. For some reason, I can only play Tetris if it looks like the Game Boy, and if it has music by oh darn, I can't remember the band, but there's a really awesome band. They did a really techno gothic industrial version of the Tetris theme. So anyway, long story short, I made my own. I updated the software so that it supported skins, and then I made a skin that made it look like Game Boy, and it would support MP3, so I could listen to that song and play Tetris on my computer the way that I wanted to play it. So yeah, and then I never contributed another line of code to the project after.
Yeah.
But all right, Tyler, favorite video game soundtrack?
I've never really been much into video game music necessarily, but the first one that really kind of struck me as being really cool was the end credits theme from Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. That was the first time that the music really kind of got me, and I was like, "Wow, this is really cool," So I probably have to go with that.
I'm with Aaron on that one. I've played it. I own it. I own Game Boy Advance and the SNES version. I haven't beaten either one of them. Just the stuff happened. Wasn't able to do it.
With the game, still a little time.
Yeah, you should do it.
So, all right. What about you, Red?
I got two. First one, first Tony Hawk for N64. Can't go wrong. And the second one will be Ace Combat Zero, PS2.
I am shocked. I am shocked that your favorite has something to do with Ace Combat. I would not have seen that coming.
Every episode got to go to our Ace Combat at least once.
once per episode.
That,
My turn?
yeah.
Three, but I won't gush too much. I'll do these two first. This is the soundtrack to Stella Deus by Hitoshi Sakimoto. And Sakimoto also did the soundtrack to Final Fantasy Tactics, and you can really tell that this has its influences there. Same thing with this one. The Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter soundtrack, so good. So good, and this game is so different from what I'm used to with his compositions, so I just cannot recommend it enough. But my favorite soundtrack of all time happens to be for my favorite game, which I cannot wait to talk about later. Saga Frontier. You guys, Kenji Ito does not mess around with music. Even before I hopped on here to chat with y'all, I was playing Romancing Saga 3, and his style has stayed consistent throughout his entire career, and I just cannot get tired of it. So all his songs are so catchy. There's so much mood. There's so much, instrumentation. I just can't stop listening to any of his work. But the soundtrack to Saga Frontier is definitely my favorite one of all time. I cannot recommend it enough.
Nice.
So,
Mine are, I've got Final Fantasy VII.
oh yeah.
Final Fantasy VII is the second game that ever made me cry. And I have to caveat, because I saw you go, oh my God. You have not heard the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack unless you played it on PC. That was probably about the only thing that made the PC version worth having.
If you had a sound card that was compatible with the Yamaha soft
Which
synth,
I did.
if you didn't, it was worse than the CD. So bad.
Yep. Judges say the right answer was the Logitech Soundman Wave, not the Sound Blaster.
I'm not sure what that means.
So yeah, the Final Fantasy VII with the right sound card for the PC. Chrono Cross, I have not actually even played this game yet.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Although I have seen the opening title sequence
That's
900 times.
That song is beautiful.
The song is
Time
so
Star
beautiful.
is beautiful.
I will just pop it in and I will listen to it on repeat for a while. And then the other two, I'm going to have to go with NES titles for this one. The Ninja Gaiden 2 soundtrack and the Master soundtrack. Definitely the best 8-bit.
I knew Blaster Master was coming.
But now, another thing that I wanted to mention though with that is you weren't just influenced by Chrono Trigger. But I noticed when I listened to After the Lights Failed and Instant Gratification, a couple of the songs have kind of like a chiptune kind of sound to it. So do you want to talk a bit about how that works in the music?
Yeah. So essentially, the way that our process goes is that I write all the songs on a Nintendo Game Boy and guitar, and then kind of figure out what some of the parts are going to be, and then pull stuff out, and then bring it to the band. And there's only two of us here, so we're a 5-piece. We have a violinist, a drummer, and a guitarist, and then we sort of arrange out from there what's going to be what. And I'll scale out and be like, okay, this melody on the Game Boy is designed for a guitar, but we started out from there, and then it comes out, and then or the violin will come in and play that part, we'll pull that out. But the Game Boy or the chiptune element is definitely one of the instruments in the band.
Yeah, I liked I don't remember the title of it, but in one particular song, it's how it blends from real instruments to Game Boy music and back a couple of times throughout the song. I was very impressed. So, and then not chiptune related, but still super impressed. I read in an interview somewhere, true or false, you learned to play bass guitar in 3 days?
5 days.
5 days?
5 days.
Hey.
That's impressive.
That's
Cool.
Yeah, three's ridiculous. It was 5. Yeah, I'm so embarrassed now. But talk to us a little bit about that. What drove that?
Oh, we had a bassist who moved out of state, so we didn't have places, and I thought it'd be fun. So what I was doing at the time was I was singing harmonies, and I was playing a little bit of backup, second violin, and a little bit of guitar, which was a Rock Band 3 guitar controller that was hooked up to my iPhone, which had a synth app on it. So I was running through that, so it was I was playing
That's pretty
with
cool.
the songs. But it was a little part here and there, and then I would play a little percussion, some cowbell. And
I'm sure however much you gave it, it needed more.
yeah.
Never can have enough cowbell.
Fever.
But we already had a violinist and we already had a keyboardist, and so when the bassist left, it'd be fun to have something that I can consistently play throughout the song. And I just thought I could learn how to play it because I didn't play guitar before. I had taken some guitar lessons. I took drum lessons for 8 months to get used to that. And I played violin, I played piano, and then I tried bass, and my husband, he is a bassist, and he was a bassist, and he helped me figure out how to
Okay,
do
she
it.
had a ringer up her out. That was a trick.
I mean, he didn't really sit down with me much, but I had I would just absorb a lot. I was being around, being watching the videos, and watching on YouTube with all those really good basses. Just in all the positions. And,
And we had bassist auditions,
I
and
auditioned for my own
she
band.
auditioned for her own band, and she acquired. Wow. It was pretty rough.
That's how you do it. Now, see, if the makers of what is it, Rocksmith are watching, they say Rocksmith you can learn in 60 days. He learned in
Aaron Keeley model.
yeah, Aaron Keeley learned in 5 days, and to her it was just like playing Atari 400. So
You know what's a fun game is Bantu.
I saw that one. They had a setup with the left rocket.
Yeah, and I played it, not this rocket, but the one before. I played it there, and I was so sold on it. This bass and this guitar. You can play the real actual bass parts. And it also has this kind of what shred you do, which is how you university.
Okay, I was gonna say that I don't like the direction that's going. Right?
But they have part of that's not just playing through the song, where it shows riff by
Oh, you
riff
can, like,
and it
freestyle.
slows it down. It shows you exactly how to play each part. So if you don't really know how to play the
okay.
instrument, or you can't play it up to full speed, and you want to learn the real part of the song, then you can put that until you get it. It's a pretty cool game. It's pretty fun.
That's pretty cool. I have Rocksmith. I tried it. I've successfully completed the tutorial where you tune the guitar.
Mm.
But didn't get much
I've played with musicians who haven't gotten to that point. So.
Burn.
Wow. So I guess there's
I
hope.
was out for blood this evening.
I'll be like auditioning for like backup guitar.
Yeah.
I won't be like winning the audition. But
I have a question for y'all.
you get to
Do you pronounce it? What? I hear you guys pronounce it Chrono Trigger. I've always said Chrono Trigger.
I say Chrono.
I said Chrono. Yes.
Chrono, like chronology.
You say Chrono.
I say maybe it's a Ohio thing. We always say Chrono.
What do you say?
I say
Aaron?
Chrono.
Yeah,
Chrono?
I say
All
Chrono.
right, high five. Awesome.
All right. We'll let the guests have that one. So I'm just a hick from the Bay Area.
I live in Nashville. Doesn't get more hippies than that. So.
Hey Dash,
Yeah.
we need Aaron to speak a little louder because we're having a hard time hearing her at times.
Okay. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
If
Thank
you
you.
speak to the camera a little bit, to the microphone. There's a microphone.
There's a microphone there. There's a microphone there. There's a microphone there. I think I should have.
Just louder.
Yeah, I should have a version of you so I can project out there. So I do believe, though, we're pretty much done with the topic of favorite soundtracks, I think, unless anybody has something burning that they need to get off their chest.
I just wanted to add to the point about Sakamoto, who did Final Fantasy Tactics, who we talked about earlier. Also did Final Fantasy 12, which is, I think, why I like that stuff.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the first, I believe it was their first non-Uematsu soundtrack. I mean, 10, he was sort of like, half in, half out, but 12 was their first, like, all right, it's a new composer at this point, and I liked the music more than I thought it was going to because of how similar it felt to Tactics.
Well, I don't know. I never played 11. Was Uematsu in 11 or?
I think Uematsu was involved in 11 at the beginning of it, and then all the themes were there because it was sort of like it's Final Fantasy Online. So, but as far as the
I don't like it. Yeah, I forgot about FF12. I don't like the game, but that soundtrack. I mean, again, you just can't go wrong with it.
Yeah.
He is so good. So good.
So a lot of the comments here, we're probably going to revisit a bunch of these games again, but from a different angle. I think our next topic, Red, correct me, it was the favorite RPGs, right?
Correct.
So I know I've shown pretty much a bunch of mine. I know that some people don't consider Zelda an RPG. It's more of an adventure game type thing, but I like it. It was my first foray into anything even close to like an RPG. I didn't play it on the original NES. The first version that I played was actually for the original Game Boy, the black and white Game Boy. To date, it is, I think, the best Game Boy game ever made, period, end of story.
I have to agree with that one.
Yeah, and I would even go so far as to say any version of the Game Boy. So, I like the game.
It's hard to say, but it's up there.
Yeah. This was the first game that ever made me cry. So,
Because of the windfish, right?
Come on, fight the
Thank you.
team. Come on, be strong. You're on television, so fight them.
25 years. Take it.
yes. My other one, you probably think I'm going to say this one. But I'm not. This isn't actually, even though this is the second video game that ever made me cry, my favorite in the Final Fantasy series has to go to Final Fantasy IX.
That's my number 2 of the whole series.
Charm and character, in my opinion, it did everything that Final Fantasy VII did, only way better. Granted, it came out well after. They knew the hardware better. They had their feet under them better in terms of how they were making next gen at the time RPGs. So I love this one. I'm not spewing hate for Final Fantasy VII. Good game, but I like this one enough to where I played it 3 times and still have not quite beaten it. But Eventually I will. This one I played 1.5 times, and I'm pretty much done with it. I'll probably never play.
What I liked about FF9 was that none of the characters were really built the same way. Because in 7 and 8, your characters were essentially kind of the same, other than, you know, their weapons. But in FF9, you know, Vivi would never deliver a strong attack, whereas Steiner would never cast a strong magic spell. I like that variety that allowed you to kind of build your ultimate party of 4 kind of your own way. I thought it was neat.
Yeah, I wouldn't like the game forced you to take people who can only do physical attacks, or you go to that place where magic is useless. I really liked the way, like you said, 7, it was whose limit break do you like it, or who, you know, what character do you like just based on personality? Because stat-wise, it didn't matter.
And then we're gonna kill them.
They kill Red 13? What? I didn't know that. I'm just kidding. Spoiler alert. No, I'm just kidding.
All or none of that spoiler may be true.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So your favorite RPG?
I'll go with 2. Probably second. My number 2 would be Final Fantasy 6.
Okay.
I think technically I played 4 first, but I didn't complete it. I played it when I was younger. You know, I didn't own a Super Nintendo at the time. 6 was the first Final Fantasy that I did entirely. And, you know, spoiler alert for a 30-year-old game. When you get to the point where the villain essentially wins and more or less destroys the world, and you're kind of on this weird, like, suicide mission to make your life matter. Like, I don't know, that sort of existential crisis in a video game when I was that young, I was like, wow, this is actually really touching.
That's interesting. I haven't played that one yet, but now you have me.
Oh.
30-year-old game. The statute of limitations for spoilers, I think, is.
I think you might be right.
The spoiler makes me want to play the game.
Yeah, no, it's
Right. I want to play a game where, like, no matter what you do, you lose. That sounds like an interesting.
Right, and like if you're comfortable playing it on a phone, the iOS port is actually pretty good. They changed the graphics sprites, but it's actually. But number 2 or number 1, my all-time favorite RPG has to be Earthbound, like hands down.
I didn't catch that. What was it?
Oh, sorry, Earthbound.
Oh, Earthbound. Okay.
That game's worth a lot of money now too.
I know.
Well, the Flea though, the Flea finds it like every week at a yard sale for like $1.
My friend has a copy. I'm trying to buy it off him. He's like, you know how much it's worth, right? I was like, yes, I know how much it's worth.
I'll be your best friend. You know, do that.
You know, is it worth more than our friendship?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know. The instruction manual, like, you know, does it have the scratch and sniff cards? Like,
Yeah, that's true. It might actually be worth more than a friendship. But Aaron, your favorite?
Besides real legitimate pen and paper Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
I would
That counts. That counts.
Besides that, Planescape Torment for the PC. Don't know what version of Windows I had at the time, but I think it was probably 95. Really, really good game. I don't know how many people have actually heard of it.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't played it, but
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's cool. Like, you play a guy who wakes up, like, with embalming fluid and keeping his body together, and he's basically mortal and he keeps dying and forgetting everything. He needs to keep it together. And then you amass, like, all these other characters to help you, and it's a really cool game. Dark, but really good.
Yeah, that's another one I'm gonna have to check out.
Interesting.
You can still play it on your 2-year-old PC.
no, I think GOG.com has it.
Yeah, I was gonna say GOG might have resurrected it. So, Mr. Nikon, favorite RPG if you have one. Mortal Kombat is not an RPG.
I'd say I like, you know, Dragon Warrior, the original one. But, you know, I got that from my subscription to Nintendo Power, which they're just giving them out to everyone.
Alright, who here did not get their copy of Dragon Warrior through Nintendo Power? Alright, 2 of us. There's more than I thought there'd be. I thought I'd be the only one.
Yeah, and also like Xenoblade on the Wii. That, you know, super long game. I know, I just love it.
Yeah, the first 15 minutes were fantastic. Eventually I'll play the rest of it.
Eventually you'll play.
Yes.
It takes forever to
Eventually I
play.
more than just watch the initial cutscene and run around in the initial playable space going, what the hell do I do now?
Yeah. But yeah, it takes forever. You know, it took me almost a year on and off playing it, so it was crazy. At first I was playing on a little old CRT TV where I couldn't really see anything. Like, it's impossible to play. I'm like, what am I looking at? They're saying stuff. I can't see it. It's too small. Maybe because I'm old and I can't read that, but
No, it's
I gotta,
Oh, yeah, that. Jeez. You're not old, you know that.
I remember back in 1985. Yeah. But yeah, those are
yes. Duck Hunt is the time and the place for CRTs.
Donkey
Yes.
Country. Have you ever tried playing that on flat screen?
I'll give that one to you.
It
Yeah.
doesn't look good.
Wish it did,
Oh.
but it doesn't.
And like in some
Uh-oh.
like versions like flat screens, I hook my NES to, I get a bit of a lag on them, which is a pain in the butt.
Yes. You have to set to game mode and turn off all the special features.
Ah,
You paid extra for the TV, you have to turn off. And then you can enjoy your games. So, Red, what about you? Do you have a favorite RPG? Ace Combat is not an RPG.
In my heart, it is, though. I don't really have one, but I will give a shout out to South Park: The Stick of Truth. That game was entertaining for what it was.
Yeah.
Super good.
I knew that was a good RPG when my dad didn't like it. My dad like posts on Facebook like, South Park: Stick of Truth. I don't get it. This game sucks. I'm like, that must be an awesome RPG.
It was amazing. Well, I don't know if you crappy, but I played it. I was like, wow, this is actually good. I played it like 3 times through.
Yeah, it's pretty good. What amazed me was because my dad was playing it on the Xbox 360, and you know, not for nothing, that was the first like 360 or PS3 game I'd seen where they actually like it looked like you were watching the show. While
Yeah, it really did.
But Tyler, what about you? Do you have any favorite RPGs?
Yeah, I don't really play many RPGs, but one that I recently got that I kind of was the Mario and Luigi Dream Team. It came pre-installed on my 3DS that I bought, so I didn't know what to expect, and I really enjoyed it actually. Didn't beat it yet, but I'm there, you know, at the end. The first Final Fantasy, that was fun.
Classic.
But I got to give it to Earthbound 2.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed. I mean, when Earthbound first came out, it didn't do very well. You know, not many people bought it. And I mean, I used to rent video games every weekend when I was a kid. And the store I rented at, they had this new game called Earthbound. I'm like, whatever, I'll try it. You know, I was hooked instantly. You know, and I bought it. You know, maybe a month later, and I've loved it ever since. You know, before all the hype and everything else. So.
You chose wisely.
Yeah.
Casual, favorite RPG. Although we got some spoilers earlier, so I'll try to act surprised.
Spoilers already, but I mean, that's my favorite genre, so it kind of runs the gamut. I mean, I love, you know, Xenosaga a little bit, and my favorite series of all time is the Tales series. Isn't she lovely? I just finished one of the games in the Hyperdimension Neptunia series called Hyperdimension Noir, and here she is, looking gorgeous as always. But it runs the gamut. I mean, if you name an RPG, chances are I probably played it. That said, as I mentioned earlier, this is my favorite of all time, Saga Frontier. I probably spent a good 200 hours on it, which I know that, you know, in the grand scheme of certain things like MMOs and, you know, other things like that, it's not that much. But at the time, when, you know, all you had was a PlayStation and a memory card, that was a lot of game time. I just could not put the thing down. And I think what I liked most about it, besides the music, was that it was just unlike anything I've ever played before. You know, most RPGs are pretty linear. You just go from point A to point B. In Saga Frontier, you kind of just chose what you wanted to do and how you wanted to play and how you wanted to build your team, all set within a cool fantasy, steampunk, futuristic-ish setting. It was so fun, and I still pop it in from time to time. I just can't get enough of it.
Nice. I detect an opportunity for potentially viral or controversial moment. Every time you mention that game, I notice your reaction. Is that you identify, or you have a difference of opinion?
It's just funny. It's one of the games that I didn't play, but I had a buddy that was like obsessed with it. Like, I pretty much for the most part in that time period stuck with the Final Fantasy games, and he had every Square game that they put out. Like, he bought Brave Fence from Musashi not to get the Final Fantasy demo that came. Like, he actually bought the game. Guys, and pretty much everything that Square put out at that point. And
And now I know how to pronounce that.
I'm not sure I'm saying it right, by the way. That was the fighting game where you can beat Cloud.
Oh, guys.
Yeah, I see it, guys, but again, I don't know if that's how you work.
You're right on the chrono. So
Yeah, we were.
I'm gonna default to graduate.
Thank you.
But yeah, so it just kind of cracks me up. Also, and I guess weird piece of trivia, because that's Saga Frontier isn't the first game in that series, right?
No, the first one is
Actually, one of the Final Fantasy games.
I recall what it's called in Japan, but in America it's called The Final Fantasy Legend.
Right, for the Game Boy, right?
The hardest game I've ever played. Like, seriously. It was brutal.
Yeah, I remember playing that on the Game Boy and thinking, okay, this is kind of different than standard Final Fantasies.
Well, yes, it is. And I ran out of so many, batteries trying to beat that damn game, going on long car trips and whatnot. But when I did beat it, I was so proud of myself. So very proud.
How many of you played Final Fantasy Legend for the Game Boy?
You what?
How many of you played Final Fantasy Legend for the Game Boy?
That's what
Besides me? I don't know.
Besides you. How many other people?
Not me.
Not much of Final Fantasy, man.
Is that, I have that one, and is that the same one where, like, you get to the end and you fight the creator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler, but yeah.
I put in about as many hours as you did, right? Killed as many batteries and everything. I get to the creator, and there's this one, like, am I the only one that does this? You go through a game, and you pick up all these, like, special items from these people that you defeat, and, like, you never know how many of the items you're going to get or when you're going to need it, so you just keep it. And then you beat the whole darn game, and you've never used the items at all.
All three. That's how
I've done that a few times.
So
I try to use it if I can. I mean,
I was playing this game, and I got this special item called the saw, right? And it looks
yes.
like a saw, right? And, like, I only ever got one of them, so I'm like, I'm going to save it for, like, a special occasion. Well, the special occasion was I went to fight the creator. So I put all these hours into the game. I get to the creator, right? I'm waiting for this, like, punishingly difficult, right, boss fight. And my first move is saw. And it says creator has been cut to pieces. And I beat the game. I won. First hit, first attack.
I didn't think that through. Like, the saw was originally supposed to be used for the boss you fought before him.
It was brutal.
You what?
I died on him so many times. Now I don't.
Wait, who was it? It was the bird, I thought. Suzaku? Was that it? Well, either way.
Don't remember. I just remember going like, what? There was like 3 or 4 bosses before this guy that was like way harder than this guy.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess the saw works on that. I never tried that because I wanted to, do it the legit way, but that is a great way to do it.
Oh, come on. It's one of the few. I've only beaten like 3
legit way.
Now you're telling me that's a fake win? I'm taking it. I'm taking it. I'm going to call
That's yours. You wrap that up and keep that for yourself. I like it. So. Yours.
All right. Well, folks, we're getting pretty close to it. We're going to have a special event in just a few more minutes. We're going to play some Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U because, as I understand, you're a fan of Mario Kart.
I am. I've never played it on the Wii U, so.
It will be a treat. It will be a treat.
She is devastatingly awesome at Double Dash, which is the only thing I've ever been good at, or rather I thought I was good at, until I played against her.
I thought I was good at it until I went to Rockage, and there are some of those people who know every single thing you could possibly do at any minute to beat everyone else. And then I was like, oh, I actually don't know how to play this game at all.
I just see it as like this, like, race, have fun, try not to hit something type game.
That's how I always
So,
thought.
I like that.
There's, yeah, so folks, if you're expecting some like steep competition with me like totally wiping the floor with people, you're watching the wrong show. I'm probably gonna get defeated in the game that I was just boasting about. You know, I'm having a good day when I can like defeat my 11-year-old son in that game.
I win this out Sunday.
Before we get to that, though, I did want to mention these guys have 2 really awesome CDs out. 3 if you count the EP, right?
Right.
So the EP is the Glow, which I don't have, but that's a problem I plan to rectify soon. I do have their others, the Instant Gratification and After the Lights Fail.
Right on.
They're both really awesome tunes. Bonus, they've got a chiptune flair to them. That definitely got, I could hear in it like the inspiration from like different games and stuff like that. What I did like about it though was there's a lot of different ways in which, I don't know, are you guys familiar with what chiptunes are?
No.
Vaguely.
No.
Not entirely, no.
I can try to explain it, but I will explain it not right. So do you want to explain those chiptunes?
Yeah, it's essentially when you're using the sound hardware on old electronics to create music. So in the case of what I do for the most part, it's a Game Boy cartridge called LSDJ. So you plug it into a Game Boy, and then you can step program sound. So you can make, okay, I need, you know, at this beat I need a C, at this beat I need an A, and then I need a C sharp, and you can sort of, you know, write music using the sound of the Game Boy. So it's like if you listen to the soundtrack of like, I don't know, Mario Land for the Game Boy, it was all done using, you know, the hardware in there. So this cartridge just allows you to make music using only that hardware that's in the cartridge. So you get these sort of very, very, you know, Nintendo sounding music that's sort of, you know, kind of evocative of the older video game generation. There's bands out there that are better known for doing stuff like this, like Anamanaguchi is probably the biggest one. And they use a Nintendo console, like an NES. And they program everything onto a cartridge, they plug it in, press play, and then they play guitar over it live. It's phenomenal. So
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I guarantee that if you take a listen to their tunes, you're gonna hear new and different stuff. You're not gonna. It's not like stuff that you've heard before. It's a really nice blend of different genres, different styles, and it works. It doesn't feel like you tried to blend styles. It feels like you married styles that were always meant to be together.
I'll take it.
And I understand too, because I've listened to both of these back to back, one after the other. These are telling a story.
Yes.
That's not complete yet. Is that true?
That is correct, yeah.
Ooh, that's cool.
Can you share a little bit with us, or is it too spoilery?
Sure. I mean, I guess I can kind of about more than 10 years ago, I started writing a book, and then I realized that I'm terrible at writing books. So I have I basically set up this big kind of elaborate story, and then did nothing with it. So I started putting it into songs instead. So it's the lyrical content to an extent, but also kind of the visual elements. So the 2012, we put out Instant Gratification, which is 10 songs, and each song is accompanied by a Polaroid. And the story for that one is that there's these 2 characters that have kind of met in this sort of weird afterlife, and they've only got these series of Polaroids, and they have to try and figure out how they know each other, because they don't remember their own lives, and the only things that they have to go on are the stories in these particular pictures. And so the glimpses into their lives and the things that are going on in their lives, it kind of spans like a really long period of time. There's these other things that are going on, which is, it ties into the next album, which is about the consequences of mankind trying to survive a global catastrophe. So every song on After the Lights Failed is essentially, each one was a short story written from the perspective of somebody who is trying to survive in this new world and what their experiences are like. And so there's some overlap in that some of the Polaroids from the previous record tie into their lives before the event and after the event, and there's a different set of characters for After the Lights Failed that are kind of weaving in and out of the story. And to tie it all together, we made sure that there was melodic callbacks. So some, you'll hear a song from our previous record that has like a very very distinct melody, and then that melody will sneak into another song on the next record that will kind of help, like, oh, okay, I think this is sort of referencing that, or maybe I should look at the lyrics of that previous song and see how they maybe tie together. So, and we're still going with it. So.
Now, do you think the third album is going to be the conclusion of it, or is there more than just 1 or 2 albums worth of story left to tell? Do you think?
I think probably we're looking at like 5 or 6 total for the series. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, I'm stoked.
Awesome. I look forward to it. Do you think that has the process of going the music route rekindled any desire for other formats of the story? Do you think that there will be a book version of the story at some point, or
we're in talks for a couple of different things? So yes.
Awesome. Excellent.
Absolutely.
Excellent. I certainly you've got me interested. So again, if you haven't heard their music, you really don't have an excuse. It's out there on Bandcamp. It's out there on YouTube. You should give it a listen.
Too.
Spotify, iTunes, Pandora. And if you're at all, anyone watching, if you're in the Bay Area, which is where we're based, we're going to be playing at Bottom of the Hill in San Francisco on May 9th. And then on June 6th, we're playing
It's your birthday. All right.
Yeah. Happy birthday to you, man. Yeah.
By the way, America. Thank you. Go on.
And then, June 6th, we're going to be playing a thing called Live 105's BFD. It's a big music festival at Shoreline Amphitheater in Mountain View. Headlining is Modest Mouse and Of Monsters and Men, and Panic at the Disco is playing. It's going to be a fun day.
That is so.
I'm going to start setting up for the Mario Kart game. In the meantime, what I want you guys to do is I'm throwing out a new surprise topic. The new surprise topic is most annoying moment in an RPG.
Oh, God. Let me count the ways.
I'll give you guys a moment to think about it. My most annoying moment in an RPG is, the whole Aerith thing.
What do you mean? I don't get what you...
I know, right? All I'll say is, like, she had my favorite limit break. I had spent, like, I don't know, like maybe 20 of my 80 in-game hours just leveling up her character so that I could see, like, every limit break and, all that other stuff. And it was, like, right after I stopped grinding to, like, maximize that character and everything, that I went to the very next, like, thing, and I'm like... Awesome. That's really, seriously, like, it couldn't have been Tifa? Come on.
Actually, I like Tifa more, but, so you got Great Gospel? Is that what you did?
What's that?
You got Great Gospel? You grinded all the way to Great Gospel?
I got Great Gospel, yes.
Wow.
And it was awesome, and I used it a total of, like, once.
This many?
Before,
Before sword to abdomen contact.
Before the event that shall not be spoken of.
We could have used a Phoenix Down here, you guys.
Yeah,
I know, right? I'm like, come on, like, Phoenix Down. I got, like, 12 of them.
Anyone else? Anyone else ever think it was weird? So Cloud's like, holding her body in the water, and then he lets her go. First of all, she sinks like a rock, and second of all, she's like clearly like going down like several hundred feet in this lake. And where is he? What was he standing on?
Good point.
I don't know, it's like there's like limitations
Well,
of the console.
for her sinking into the water, I was just thinking like maybe those big honking bracelets she had were like maybe they were just made of lead, right?
It was her hair. She had big hair, big clothes.
Yeah.
It just sunk her like a rock.
She had no buoyancy.
Exactly. Yeah, she had buoyancy.
We got it wrong, right? We thought it was Sephiroth. Maybe it was just lead poisoning, right? She said too much lead in her system, and it was like a coincidence, Wrong place.
I don't really use her, but I still wish we had more with her because she was a good mage. If you like to use magic, so.
Yeah, her magic stat was higher, I think, than anybody else's by default. But I believe she was the only character that had any difference in that regard. So, I don't know.
So, Mr. Nikon, your most annoying thing.
It doesn't happen with many RPGs. When you get to a point, you're like, it's not exactly clear what you got to do. And nowadays, we got the internet to go for the walkthrough. And you read the thing, I'm supposed to do that. How am I supposed to know I'm supposed to do this, there's no obvious path to go, in the game. I can think of like numerous games where I've had this issues on.
We talked about that before, right? True that they did not have the internet back then, but they did have the 900 hotline where you could call.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And I think, right? So, Aaron, back me up here, right? Personally, I think that some of those hardest moments in gaming existed specifically because some guy, the producer, is there going, "Now we gotta have some way to make them call a number. There's just got at least like one thing has to make them call a number because they had to like get a cut of it or something."
Yes. I don't
That's the
know.
only way
I
to
always
make
had the
sense.
internet. Even when there were like 10 people on the internet, I would get on the internet. Somebody to do something.
I would always get stuck on the games where like they couldn't help you, right? Like I get stuck like Blaster Master, the level 4 boss there that can like replicate multiple times and shoots lasers in like 16 directions and everything. So like I get so frustrated. Like I didn't call a number, but I wrote like Nintendo Power, right? And I wrote them, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna put something in my corner. They're gonna like maybe put a pattern out or something, right? I get this letter back from Nintendo, so kudos, they wrote me back, right? I get this letter back like, the boss follows a pattern. Try to memorize it and practice. I'm like,
Yep.
That's all you got? That's the best they can give you?
that was all I got. I was like totally let down.
Gee,
It's like
Nintendo. I'll work on that.
it's like the first Star Tropics.
Oh yeah.
You go against the octopus. If you don't know he's a snowman, to freeze the water, you're like, you're gonna get your butt kicked in that.
I thought you were talking about the other one where was it Star Tropics or Star Tropics 2, where if you didn't have the letter had like a code.
That was the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the letter, yes.
So if you didn't have the letter, you're just totally screwed. Like you just get to this one part and it's like, please reference blah 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 in my letter, and you're like, what the crap? You're like looking through the whole game for like this like in-game like letter or whatever, and like.
Yeah. I still have that at home somewhere, at my parents' house. But I remember the frequency. I think it's 475 megahertz. I think, if I remember correctly.
All right, well, folks, I have Mario Kart all fired up. You guys are gonna laugh at me for how we're gonna record this, but hey, if NASA could do it for the moon landing, it's good enough for the moon landing. It's good enough for Retro Reload.
That's right.
Yes.
So I'm actually just gonna turn the camera around and point it directly at the TV.
Yeah.
Make sure you keep the camera locked on you guys so they don't jump on us.
That's fine. All right, that's not obstructing the TV itself, is it?
We're good.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, here we go. All right. So, Casual, you've got a lot of experience with RPGs. What was your most annoying moment?
Well, are you about to play? I don't want to like ruin the feng shui of the.
Oh, I'm gonna set up the recording device.
Okay. Did any of you guys ever play Breath of Fire 3?
I think I played 2, not 3.
Okay. Now I want to talk about that. But you played Breath of Fire 2 then, so I can talk about that one, I guess. It's a fine game, but one thing that I really didn't like was that they really just botched it to hell in comparison to the first one. In the first game, Breath of Fire, all your party members, regardless of whether or not they were in your battle party, they were getting experience.
Right.
Your dragon transformations would last the entire battle. Fishing was easy. Items were easy to come by. Money was plentiful. In Breath of Fire 2, they just changed all that. It was like Capcom said to the players, we're going to make this game insanely annoying for you, and you're going to play it anyway. And they did. I'm not trying to harp on Breath of Fire 2. I mean, fine game. But they just made so many weird decisions that almost made me cautious to play Breath of Fire 3. Luckily, Breath of Fire 3 was awesome and my favorite in the entire series, so that didn't stop me.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and try that one because yeah, I agree that 2 was very. It's kind of like a rude awakening. Like 1, we'd been coddled, and then 2 was like, whoa, wait a minute.
What? You want to keep your dragon transformation for the whole battle? Haha. Sorry. Just one shot and you're done. It drove me nuts. But I played so many RPGs, so I have so many little things that kind of get under my skin, rare drops or missing certain events or items, little things like that. But I keep playing them anyway. It doesn't stop me.
Yeah, I mean, despite Earthbound being one of my favorite games of all time, there's definitely a lot of that in the game. I mean, with the think about the grapefruit balls. The password to get in Belch's base is to literally just 3 minutes and then go in. Like, that's insane.
Just can't make things easy sometimes.
Or the 1 in 128 chance for certain items to drop.
Jeez. Final Fantasy X-2 had something like that.
Yeah. I think the grinding is annoying in just about any RPG. Necessary, but very annoying.
Especially Star Ocean 4. And by the way, everyone, Star Ocean 5 has been announced, and I'm super excited about it, so be on the lookout for that.
What platform?
PS3 and PS4.
Nice.
Yeah, I cannot wait. Looks like you're getting everything set up pretty smoothly, Dash.
Yeah, well,
Well, you got a flashing blue screen there.
Yeah.
Want to hook up a Nintendo?
flashing blue screen of power. Power cycle. Let me see. I might have to power cycle it. I think the HDMI needs a.
Well, it's not a show without a technical difficulty for us.
No, yeah, I think it's actually a requirement that every show that we do has to have some kind of technical faux pas. So,
Mike and Aaron, I live in Nashville, Tennessee, which is allegedly the music capital of the country, so let me know if you're ever in town.
Totally. Yeah. I think.
You guys ever come down to Los Angeles?
Yeah, we actually. It's kind of funny. The first time we ever played in LA was at a chiptune festival at a place called The Smell downtown, put on by 8-Bit LA. So it was like 3 nights, something like 30 bands, and every single one of them in some way had music made on old computers or old video game hardware. Pretty awesome.
Looks like it's going.
all right.
Dash, real quick.
Yes.
Make sure to lock the screen on you guys so it doesn't jump when we're talking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There we go. Good call.
I'm watching the YouTube feed right now, and I see Mr. Nikon.
Hello.
I've got it set on us, so we should be bombarding the screen right now.
Mr. Nikon, would you like to roll in the hay?
All right.
That never gets old.
We are good to go. Who's number 1? You number 1?
Yeah.
Oh, here's number 1. All right. Awesome.
Yes, you go, girl.
All right. We'll go ahead and do the player. And is it okay or do I need to move them? It's one. All right. I think it's number 2 to start. So we hold them like Nintendo controllers, sideways, and then it should be number 2.
He's like, I don't know.
All right. We could do a single race, or we could do a series of like 4. Let's try. All right, try the Grand Prix. And 50, 100, and 150 is how fast you want it to go. All right.
Someone chooses late for me.
I will let you.
Weird.
Yes, I know, right? You can pick Link if you want to pick Link.
Special.
I'm not really sure.
Oh yeah.
I
It's
can
very
only
soon.
So I guess I'm gonna be Wario because I am the villain now.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Lyrical substance.
Yes.
No, you didn't.
I did. All right. Honesty, I did.
Oh my god.
You were wider than why?
I'm gonna double down with the Wario stuff.
I'm going in the cat car.
Yeah.
Like,
So who is who? So we know.
So yeah, who's who?
Yeah, who's who? Cash.
So I am Mario. I am the Tanuki Mario in the cat car.
Okay.
Okay.
And Aaron is Link on the motorcycle.
I'm going for Link. That's my favorite character.
Alright, number 2 when you're ready.
That means Mike is Wario.
Any one of these. Heads up, I think it's the Triforce stuff. You do get to race through a Zelda level, which is awesome, but it also has the Rainbow Stage. Which is one of the most
Another Rainbow Stage.
Rainbow Road is punishing. No!
It is the most.
Hi, Spike.
We don't have an hour for the Rainbow Stage.
Oh, that's true. Well, we'll see how long.
Alright.
Welcome to Mario Kart.
That's actually pretty good.
Fun trivia. Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, was born in San Jose.
Really?
Yep.
Wow!
Like Mario.
Built this year. One of these buttons, I don't remember which is great. We'll find out how it is. I think it's I think 2 is go. The directional pad uses your special item. And whatever direction you
Oh, come on, Mario.
Audio.
This is way different.
Why are there flags? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, there goes Mario.
Alright. Oh. Oh.
I'm so bad at this game. Like,
No.
Yeah, like.
I don't think the coins really do anything.
These coins,
Like, I think they're
like
just...
I remember this one's from a Wii one, right?
with 10 coins, you get a boost in speed. I thought.
Looks like the computer's beating all of you right now.
You guys probably can't hear the audio, mainly because that's deliberate. I don't want to get cited by Nintendo.
Yeah, we don't want to get flagged again.
That was,
Losing so
I
hard.
don't know.
Wait, why you do this?
Okay, there's it.
Mike, you're doing good. Mike's got the lead right now for human players.
I totally thought I had the I thought I had the thing and I actually had the fire cloud.
I have the golden mushroom. I'm trying to activate it, but it doesn't do anything.
You just keep pushing the thing. Like Sonic, man. Gotta go
Now that I
fast.
lost it, I know how to use it. It's awesome.
Oh, I had a coin. And I'm noticing in this game they pick you picks you up a lot faster. Like in the old game, if you went off the side, you would kind of ask for a little bit.
Ah, there you go. Oh, well, that was fast.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, ow.
Week they're launching
In an 8th.
100cc mode. Are you serious? Yeah, it's the fastest mode ever in Mario Kart game. And they're gonna have Animal Crossing content. Of course they have.
I can't wait for that one.
Oh, come on.
Wario is struggling down there.
Yeah.
Mario's hanging in 10.
Seventh. Seventh is not as good as where I was.
If I lose, the podcast is canceled. Come on.
Link's up in 6th now. 5th. And up. And here we are in the final lap right now.
And they're coming around the bend, and
And Link is now in 4th place. Mario is in 6th place
Yeah,
now,
go
and
to fourth
Mario's
place.
right up to very 9th.
Oh. Was that you? Ooh, you just ran me.
and Wario's running into walls. That's fine. And
And down the stretch they come.
I usually pick Link, so
there he goes. Whip.
with Mario in an actual car.
And Link has come into 4th place right now, and he's in 5th, and he's going down. He's going down in position. He is losing ground quickly.
Yeah.
They're neck and neck. Not really.
People have used knowledge from previous Mario Karts against me.
I'm enjoying
And
watching
here
Dash
they
crash into the
come.
walls.
Wario is crashed, and he is now in 12th
Like Tolster
place.
one.
This reminds me of a fight when Muhammad Ali came up against George Frazier.
It's like dead last.
I was in 3rd and I ended
And Mario is bringing up the rear. This is a dreadful performance for Mario.
You got fourth place.
Dreadful. I thought you said that.
The three of us, and that is surprising no one.
Staying dirty, right on time.
Alrighty.
Wow, you guys have good timing. 12:30. Oh,
And,
my time.
and that concludes our Mario Kart extravaganza. This is Howard Cosell saying thank you for watching
Rainbow Road.
Mario Kart.
Oh, it's the SDS version too. Oh,
It's
that's
very
so
funny.
funny.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, hey guys.
Oh, there's a microphone.
Hey, we're back.
Hey, pretty lady. Oh,
Kind of.
Oh.
Somewhat.
now I see you again. Okay.
Right. Wow, it's almost like.
That was
All right,
pretty
good.
close
Yeah,
to the
I'm
original, yeah.
impressed. So, folks, we're at time. This has been Retro Reload, West Coast edition. We hope you enjoyed the special guests that we had on today and the live gaming where we got our butt kicked by Aaron, who I heard learned to play Mario Kart in just 5 days while playing bass guitar with her feet.
Is there nothing this woman cannot do?
All right, folks, we hope that you'll tune in next time. We have plenty more guests that we have lined up that we're working on for you. So if you tune in on Tuesdays, 8:30 Pacific time.
Thursday.
And be sure to tune in Thursday for the East Coast edition, where you'll be able to see Kashi Baby again,
That's me.
and maybe Mr. Nikon will have a new song for us.
I don't know yet.
What's the score? On the game score.
All right, folks, that's it. Take care.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Peace.